Hey guys, welcome back to How to Rip's Lesson of the Week. Today we're going to focus on common surfing mistakes, particularly that beginners are making. This could also apply to even intermediate surfers. We're going to start with your board selection, moving through to what beach you should choose to surf at, where you paddle on the board, where your feet are, and how all these things come together. So we're going to break that all down today for you. So let's get into it. And if you're new here guys, why don't you subscribe to the channel now, where we upload 2 videos a week to help your surfing progress. So the whole point of this video is not to stop you from making mistakes, because that would be silly. We learn from our mistakes, and you should see failures for what they are. Failures are a stepping stone to success, so the more you fail, the closer you are to success. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is board selection. Without the proper board, you won't be able to surf, you won't be able to paddle, catch waves, and progress your surfing. I know, because when I started surfing, I had an inappropriate board to start with, and it made things harder and it halted my progress. So let's jump in to board selection. Okay guys, so we're going to talk about beginner surfboard selection. Now, a reason why this is a huge fail point is because if you don't have the right board, you're not going to be able to catch waves, practice popping up, or even practice turning later on. So that's why it's so important to get this right. If you're on a board like this one here with the black rails, that's my JR Bam Bam. It's a pro model, a high performance board for high performance waves. That board for a beginner is going to end in failure every single time. And like I mentioned earlier, I would know, because when I started surfing, I had a board like that. Even though it was a bigger high performance shortboard, it had more buoyancy, it was really responsive, which meant that any little mistake I made me fall off. So a board like this is halfway in between. It's got more volume, it's flatter, wider, and more forgiving, which means it gives you more room to move when it comes to making mistakes, which we all do. So while longboards and foamies are fantastic for surfers to learn how to pop up and learn how to catch waves, they make it a little bit tricky when it comes to actually progressing your surfing. They're not very maneuverable. So if you're at that stage when you want to start practicing turns, we'd recommend a high volume fish. It's basically a squashed longboard, and that will give you more maneuverability while still having the buoyancy and surface area you need to make those little mistakes, and the board won't actually throw you off. Now that we understand what surfboards we should be using to start surfing, let's have a look at what beaches we should learn to surf at. Now to start with, I'm going to show you some examples of inappropriate learner spots. So when it comes to choosing an appropriate beach for you to learn to surf at, something like this is perfect. A spot like this is very forgiving. The waves are fluffy, and it doesn't matter if you fall off. There's no reef underneath, it is a sand bottom. Catching waves like this are perfect for any beginner surfer, and they also allow for progression later on. So to summarise, we're looking for waves that are forgiving with little consequence and easy to surf. Whitewater is key for a beginner surfer. Generally, beginner surfers lack etiquette, and they don't really pay much attention to those around them. You must be careful. You're on a big surfboard most of the time, and when you fall off, that board could really hurt someone. So it's important to make sure that there's not that many people around you when you're surfing. The other thing to remember is don't drop in. Something like this is a massive no-no in surfing. It shouldn't really happen when you're just playing in the whitewater, but it's something to be aware of. If there's already a surfer up and riding, don't get in their way. We discuss this a lot more in one of our other videos called Don't Be That Guy. I'll chuck the link in the video description below. Okay, so now we have the right board, we have the right beach. Next we need to know where to paddle on the board. Let's have a look at what happens when you're in the wrong spot on a board, and then where you should be and how to fix your paddling position. Let's have a look at these examples of common paddling mistakes. Here we can see that I'm far too back on the board. Now what this does is it puts the nose up in the air and it makes it really hard to catch waves. Next, we go too far the other way, where I'm too far forward, which causes the nose to go under. In all these examples, my body position is also very sloppy. By having a sloppy body position, it makes it harder to have control. So the body position that we're looking for is a nice, strong position. Feet together, legs together, big, long strokes with your hands cupped. By doing that, you'll capture more water and you have more power when you're paddling. Another mistake when it comes to paddling is not paddling hard enough. In this example, you can see that I tried to stand up and I wasn't even on the wave yet. Now this is a common mistake all the time that we see. You must paddle harder. So when it comes to paddling, we recommend paddling harder and for longer than you think you need to, sort of like in this example here. This will ensure that you're on the wave and give yourself the best chance of taking off and having the wave push you to the shore. Spending time getting comfortable actually catching a wave on your belly is a great way to get up confidence to catching a wave. Having an incorrect paddling position will affect your surfing because you won't be able to catch waves and then you can't practice surfing at all. So make sure that you spend time getting this right. One of the biggest mistakes that I see surfers make is their feet placement. So we're going to spend a fair bit of time looking at common mistakes and how to fix them. Let's have a look at some examples now. So when it comes to feet placement, it'll make or break your surfing experience. In this example here, my feet are too far forward on the board, which causes me to nosedive. In this example here, I've gone too far the other way, and my feet are too far on the back of the surfboard, causing the nose to go up in the air and the tail to drag in the water, which then makes you fall off the back of the wave. In this example here, you can see that my feet are actually facing straight. They're not on an angle. So when you take off, your feet should be on a slight angle. The optimal position for your feet is somewhere between 45 degrees and 90 degrees. This will allow you to open up your shoulders and have more control over the surfboard. So most surfboards have a wooden stringer down the middle, and you want that stringer to go through the middle of your feet. This ensures that your feet are centered in the middle of the board for the most balance possible. If they're too far either side of the stringer, it'll cause you to catch a rail and fall off like this. Okay, so the last area we're going to discuss is your stance. So once you've figured out how to paddle your board, you've figured out where your feet should be, the next thing is actually the style in which you stand. Now there's a few common mistakes that I see all the time. We're going to look at them now and work out how to fix them. So when it comes to your body position, everyone will have their own style, some more aesthetically pleasing than others, but there are a few common things that you can do right and wrong. In this example here, you can see that I'm too stiff. By being so stiff, you don't have much control over what's happening. Plus, it doesn't look great. In this example here, however, I've gone too far the other way and my legs are too wide. Once again, by having a stance that's too wide, you're not going to have much control over the surfboard. So it's important to find a happy balance between the two. Generally, shoulder width is key. By having a more relaxed body position, you'll have a slightly lower center of gravity, giving you more control and more balance. Guys, I hope this video helps you address what mistakes you're making and how you can actually fix them. Because by having the knowledge of how to fix them, you'll progress faster than having to try and figure it out on your own. Remember to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below to let us know what other videos you want to see. If you want to stay up to date with the boards that we're riding and the gear that we're using, you can see all of that in the video description below. Remember to mention how to rip for special offers. I'm out of here, guys. Catch you in the surf. Something like this one.
On the wave, then looking